As written above, 2 missed years, roughly 24% added to your premium, about $8 a month. Sounds small, doesn't it? $8. You'd barely notice it walking out of a checkout line. But this isn't a checkout line. This is your Part D premium. And that $8 doesn't come off next year. It rides along month after month for as long as you're on that plan. So run it. $8 a month is $96 a year. Now stretch that across a 20-year retirement, and you're looking at nearly $2,000 pulled quietly out of your check. $2,000 for 2 years. You didn't sign up on time decades ago. Read that again. Nearly $2,000. That's a good used car. That's a year of a grandchild's school clothes. That's money with your name on it, sitting on the table, and nobody at Medicare is ever going to walk over and hand it back. If that number made you sit up in your chair, then you are exactly who I made this for. Keep it going, because now I'm going to show you the people who never have to pay a single dollar of it. Item 1. The creditable coverage exemption. Here's the plain English version. Medicare only hits you with this penalty if you went 63 days or more without what they call creditable drug coverage. Creditable just means coverage at least as good as basic Part D. And here's the part that saves a lot of folks. If you had drug coverage through an employer, through the VA, or through TRICARE, that counts. Employer, VA, or TRICARE. That's creditable coverage. No gap, no penalty. It never should have applied to you in the first place. But, and this is the whole game, being covered isn't enough. You have to be able to prove it. Did you or your spouse work past 65 with drug coverage from the job? Then listen closely, because this next line could mean you owe nothing. Every year you had that employer plan, the company was supposed to send you a little document. It's called a Notice of Creditable Coverage. 1 page. Easy to toss in a drawer, easy to throw in the recycling with the junk mail. And quick pause before I show you exactly how Extra Help wipes that penalty out. If reading the fine print for people like Raymond and Margaret is the kind of thing you want more of, do me one favor, hit that subscribe button and give this a like. That's the only way YouTube knows to put these Medicare breakdowns in front of the folks who need them, sitting at their own kitchen tables. No selling, no scare tactics, just the rules explained plain. Now, back to Extra Help and how one phone call can make that penalty vanish. And that 1 page is your proof that those years don't count against you. Nobody mails you a reminder to keep it. Nobody calls to say, hold on to this, you'll need it someday. The intention behind the rule is fine. They want to make sure you really had good coverage. But the system is simply not set up to walk over to your kitchen table and protect you. That's on you now. Or, honestly, it's on me to tell you, since nobody else did. So who does this help most? 2 groups who usually assume the penalty is theirs to carry. First, retirees who kept working past 65, the ones with a solid drug plan through the employer the whole time. And second, are veterans. If you've had your prescriptions through the VA, that's creditable coverage, plain and simple. A lot of veterans are paying penalties or fearing them over years the VA already had them fully covered. That penalty was never supposed to touch you. Here's your action on item 1, and it's the boring kind of important. Find those notices. Dig through the drawer, the folder, the shoebox, on the closet shelf, any letter from a past employer's benefits office, anything from the VA or TRICARE about your drug coverage, keep it. Gather it in one place. Because if a penalty ever shows up on a plan you know you shouldn't owe because you had coverage and you can prove it, that proof is what turns a mistake into money back in your pocket. And that leads me straight to item 2, the appeal. Let's say the letter comes, Medicare tacks a penalty onto your premium, and you look at it and you know in your gut it's wrong. You had coverage, you've got the paper, what now? Do you just sigh and pay it like most people do? No, you fight it. And you have a specific ticking window to do it in. When you get a penalty notice you disagree with, you have 60 days to file what's called a reconsideration. 60 days from the date on that letter, miss it, and it gets a whole lot harder. So the moment that notice lands, that's your signal not to panic, but to move. The reconsideration goes to a contractor with a name I want you to actually remember. C2C, Innovative Solutions. That's the outfit Medicare hires to handle these penalty appeals. There's a form that comes with your notice explaining exactly how to file, and you send it to C2C Innovative Solutions with your proof of coverage attached, your notice of creditable coverage, your employer letter, your VA records. You're not begging. You're showing them the receipts. Now here's the gap, the quiet one, and it makes me a little angry every time. Most people never appeal. Not because they're wrong. A lot of them are dead right. They never appeal because nobody ever told them they were allowed to. The letter looks final. It looks like a bill from the government. And who argues with that? So they pay a penalty they don't owe, month after month, for the rest of their lives, over a form they didn't know existed and a deadline they never knew was running. 60 days. C, innovative solutions. Write those two things down. That's your ammunition if the penalty is a mistake. So look at where we are. If you had employer coverage, you may be exempt. If you're a veteran with VA drug coverage, you may be exempt. And if the penalty is flat out wrong, you've got 60 days and a name to send your proof to. For a huge number of you watching, one of those two doors is your way out. That's real relief, and I want you to feel it. But I know what some of you are thinking right now, quietly, maybe a little embarrassed. What if I really did go without? What if there was a stretch a year, 2 years, where I had no drug coverage at all, and it wasn't a mistake, it was just life? No employer letter to dig up, no VA card, no error to appeal, just a real gap. Stay with me, because this is where it gets good. Because everything I've shown you so far protects the people who had coverage or the people who can prove a mistake. But there is still one more program, and this one doesn't care whether you can find a letter. It doesn't lower your penalty a little. If you qualify, it erases it, entirely wiped clean, gone, as if it were never there. It's the highest value thing I'm going to hand you today, and here's the part that stuns people. It's also the easiest of everything we've talked about, and it helps far, far more people than ever think they'd qualify. That program has a name. Extra Help, also called the low-income subsidy. And here is what few seniors ever hear. If you qualify for Extra Help, your Part D late enrollment penalty isn't reduced, it's eliminated, entirely wiped clean. This is the one I told you to stay for. If you do one thing from this whole video, make it this. Stop and let that settle. That little line bolted onto your premium for the rest of your life, the one nobody mails you a form to fix, Extra Help doesn't shave it down. It erases it to zero. Gone. That is the promise in the title, delivered in full. There really is a legal way to stop paying that penalty after 65, and this is it. So who qualifies? Here are the real numbers for 2024, and I want you to listen to them with an open mind. You can qualify with income up to 150% of the federal poverty level. In plain money, that's about $1,903 a month for a single person and about $2,575 a month for a couple. Then there are resource limits, savings, that kind of thing, around $17,220 for a single person and about $34,360 for a married couple. Now, resources means money in the bank, stocks, that sort of thing. It does not count your house. It does not count your car. A lot of folks hear the word resources and picture everything they own, and they count themselves out before they even check. Don't do that. And before you decide you earn too much, check the actual number, not the number in your head. Almost $2,000 a month for one person is higher than most people guess. Read that limit again. That's not just the widow living on a small Social Security check. That's the retired couple bringing in $2,500 a month between two pensions, sitting at their kitchen table, absolutely certain this is for other people, poorer people, not them. This is exactly where I watch good, honest people leave money with their name on it right there on the table. One person assumes it's only for the poor. The other assumes it's only for folks who never saved a dime. Both of them are wrong, and both of them keep paying. So hear me. This helps the widow on Social Security, and it helps the couple who assume they make too much. Don't count yourself out at your own kitchen table. Check the number. Let me put a face on it. Picture Margaret, 71, a widow. She's paying a $9 monthly penalty bolted right on top of her regular Part D premium, a penalty she picked up years ago during a gap she barely remembers. $9 a month, quietly, every month, for the rest of her life. She figured Extra Help was for people worse off than her. One afternoon, somebody finally walked her through it. She applied. She qualified. The penalty vanished, wiped clean, and here's the part she didn't expect. Her drug co-pays dropped too. Same medications, smaller bill. Now, Margaret is an illustration, not a real client, but the mechanism under her story is exactly real, and it's sitting there for people just like her. So, here is the exact action. Write this down or pause the screen. You call Social Security. The number is 1-800-772-1213. Or you go online to sa.gov/extrahelp. That's ssa.gov/extrahelp. And when you get someone, you don't need a speech. You say one sentence. I'm on Medicare and a fixed income. I want to apply for extra help with my drug costs. That one sentence starts the whole thing. Let the application do the math. Your only job is to ask. Now let's add it up for a real person. Take Margaret. The wiped penalty was $9 a month. That's $108 a year back in her pocket every year for good. Then the lower copays on top of that, month after month. Put those together and you're talking real money handed back to a woman living on a fixed income money with her name on it that she'd been leaving on the table without even knowing it was there. And remember Raymond? 74, at his kitchen table, opening his Medicare paperwork, paying a penalty he never understood for 8 straight years. He did nothing wrong. There was no villain. There was just a form nobody mailed him and a program nobody mentioned. One phone call, that same sentence, that same number 1 application could have ended his penalty years ago. He didn't know the option existed. Now you do. So here is exactly what I want you to do this week. 3 things. 1. Gather proof of any past drug coverage. A letter from a former employer's plan, the VA, TRICARE, anything showing you had creditable coverage. If it exists, that proof is your shield. 2. Call Social Security about extra help, or go to ssa.gov/extrahelp and say the sentence. Do it this week, not someday. 3. If you've got a penalty notice in your paperwork that you think is flat wrong, mark the 60-day appeal deadline on your calendar right now because that window closes whether you're watching it or not. And one more thing, because I'd be failing you if I didn't say it. There's a scam that shadows this exact benefit, and it preys on the very people I'm trying to help. Medicare and Social Security do not call you out of the blue asking for your bank account or your card number to remove your penalty or to process your extra help. That is not how any of this works. Nobody whose job it is to collect that money is ever going to call and tell you to stop paying it, and nobody official is going to call and ask for your account number to make it disappear either. So if that phone rings and someone's asking for your bank details, stop. Hang up. You go to them. You call the number I gave you. Every time. One honest note before I let you go. This is general education, not personal legal or tax advice. The rules move, and they vary by your state and your income. So confirm your own situation, call Social Security, or reach out to your local SHIP office, the free Medicare counseling folks in your state. They'll sit with you and check your exact numbers, and it doesn't cost you a thing. And then do one last thing for me. Somewhere in your life there is a person over 65 who is quietly paying one of these penalties right now and has no idea it can be stopped. A parent, a neighbor, the widow 2 doors down. Send this to one person you love who is over 65, because nobody official is going to call and explain it to them. No form is coming in the mail. You might be the only one who ever tells them. Subscribe so the next check I show you how to protect finds you too, and then go make the call. Raymond paid for 8 years because nobody told him. Margaret stopped paying the day someone finally did. The only difference between them was information, and now you're holding it. So don't sit on it. Pick up the phone, say the sentence, and stop leaving money with your name on it on the table.